Hey, what's up, guys? This is an episode of the Cupid show. I can't remember what episode we were actually on, mate. I ain't gonna lie. This whole thing was supposed to be 30 seconds long. I was supposed to say, hey, look, we're still alive, just Joe is away, and I'm really, slammed. I'm busy with everything. So we haven't had a chance to record an episode. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Dilly ding dilly dong. Good day to you, sir. Leaving. 30 seconds. But then, J.K. Rowling appeared, like a Pokemon in the tall grass, and decided that she was going to be herself. So here we are. I got two quick stories. I'm meant to be going to an Arsenal game, folks, so I can't spend too long here. I'm going to take you guys to Marks and Spencer's. And if you're not from the United Kingdom, you just don't know what Marks and Spencer's is. It is a supermarket that is slightly overpriced, and it's where somewhat poor people go to act like they have money. If that makes sense to you, then great. If it doesn't, then it's just a slightly upscale, overpriced supermarket. So this story, I'm reading it from Pink News because they've been actually the most objective here. Every other media organization, I guess you can call it, the article has been slightly biased with some form of an agenda towards any marginalized community possible, because that's the state of our media, where they just look for engagement and to stoke culture war, fucking bollocks, and all that stuff. So, earlier this week, it was reported that British retailer M&S had apologized to a mother and a 14-year-old daughter after they complained that an employee who they allege was trans had offered to help them on the shop floor. Now, the Telegraph then claimed that the mother and daughter entered the lingerie section of the shop when the shopping assistant asked them whether they needed assistance. And the mother alleged that the staff member was a biological male and obviously trans because of how tall they were. Now, this story has many holes in it, and I personally don't know if I believe that this interaction happened in that way. I honestly think that if we reach the point now where we are leaving stores because we feel uncomfortable by how somebody looks because they think that they're trans, we have strayed too far off the path, and we are definitely in the worst timeline. And we're heading towards a very, very dangerous precedent being set here. Now, height does not determine your sexuality or your gender or anything like that, because guess what? Tall women exist. And it is shameful that this has been reported as a major story. And it is even more concerning that there's people agreeing with Master Spencer's for giving some bullshit apology and agreeing with the woman for storming out of the store because her daughter's apparently freaked out. This is dangerous, but it's also ridiculously stupid. So, to clarify, the original report repeats that the mother's claim that the staff member was obviously trans because she was at least 6'2" tall. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I remember America's Next Top Model, the runway models and all that stuff. They had to be a certain height, and that height was pretty tall. Being a 6 foot tall, skinny person was considered the pinnacle of beauty standards for modeling and all that stuff. So anyone who's that height now, you're fucked. Okay? You're not considered a woman. You're now trans. Because this woman says that height is an indicator of that. This is the bullshit road that we're heading down. And this is dangerous. This is scary. This is a reason to be worried about any marginalized community now. Because we've seen elements of this before. From a racial standpoint, from a gender-based standpoint. We're now seeing it overtly right in our faces. I'm making a massive assumption here, but this just screams middle-class white woman wanting to be offended and wanting to be a victim. Now, where have I heard and seen that before? This is such a trademark thing to be quote-unquote outraged about. It's kind of unbelievable. Because if somebody approaches you and asks you if you want assistance, you can just say no. You can just say no. No thank you, and move on with your day. There's no threat. Even the mom says that it's done politely. Just say no, move on with your day. No, I want to be a fucking mini celebrity for 5 minutes. But then look at all these, the Times, the Telegraph, LBC, all of these guys making stories out of this. This, for me, is a non-story, but it is now highlighted inadvertently how quick we are to hate trans people for no reason. Nothing has been done wrong. And Marks and Spencer's apologizing has normalized that. They've normalized the idea that we should be ostracizing people from minority communities because they look a certain way, not because they are a certain way, because we don't know whether this employee was actually trans or not. We don't know who they actually are, and that will never be released because of protection laws. This is where we're at now. So we've had stories like this in America as well, of people being accused of being trans in different toilets because they were wearing a hoodie. Literally, this is leaning towards we want women to look and be a certain way. TERFs are the worst of our society. 100%. And J.K. Rowling has come out and now said, we should all boycott M&S. Sure. But the thing is, I actually agree with J.K. Rowling. I think we should boycott M&S because I think that they're incredibly overpriced, but also their stance of protecting their employees is deplorable. So, do I really want to give money to a business that doesn't protect their employees because they could possibly be trans because they're a little bit tall? That's a question to ask yourself. But here comes J.K. Rowling once again, demanding this, demanding that. This is a woman whose books are incredulously, is that even the right word? Who knows? This ridiculously overrated. They're not that good. And she's a really, really rich woman with a lot of time on her hands, clearly. And this is what she uses her money for. Nothing good. Fueling a culture war and fueling a divide between people because she's an insecure piece of shit. So, the facts of this whole case with the M&S thing is, there's nothing wrong with being trans and helping someone in a women's department. Simple. Why? Because people have the agency to say yes and no when they're being approached if they want assistance, but also because anyone can go into those apartments. Because, dads might take their daughters there. Because that was the first thing that was brought up by these fucking far-right grifters. We should all ban all biological men from the women's department. So how are dads going to buy things for their daughter then? You fucking idiots. Say a partner wants to buy something for his wife or his girlfriend or whatever. This is the idiocy that we're dealing with, folks. The people want to put themselves into a box for which they won't be able to escape from themselves. This is idiocy at its finest here. We know that trans people do not pose a threat as a community to cis women and girls, and especially not to cis men. But here we are, and we're willing as a nation to go along with this and be like, oh, it's fine, because you have a government that is complicit in this idiocy as well. This is bad. As a collective, Marks and Spencer should feel bad. This woman should feel bad. The daughter gets a pass because we barely know what she's thinking. I think that the mum's lied about the daughter's feelings about this in order to create more of a narrative, personally. This is a dangerous precedent that we're going to set soon. That's it. That is all I really need to say. Everyone sucks here. Quickly on the online safety bill. Effectively, if you live in the United Kingdom and you try to access a website, for example, a pornographic website, you'll be asked to show your identification or take a picture and whatever, things like that. Now, I use a VPN 99% of the time, so I've only faced it once or twice when trying to access a subreddit about tattoos. You see what I mean? So things are being banned because the government says that they're not okay for us to look at. So I'm trying to learn about where I want to get tattoos, but because the picture is of a man's chest, his chest, where a tattoo would be, that's not safe for work, mate. So you have to show your ID. It's embarrassing that this bill has been allowed to pass, and the way they passed it is the good old, will somebody please think of the children narrative, and the idea of supporting action against the bill. We now have ministers of parliament effectively saying, oh, you support, people preying on children. Jesus Christ. And what's really funny is that MPs are now putting VPNs on their expenses. Because guess what? Being secure on the internet is important if you're in government. So this is censorship. and weird I don't know, I was going to say authoritarianism, but it's not. Well, it actually probably is. But we're going down a state where, remember when right-wing people were saying that the world's becoming like 1984? And they then voted for a guy in America who openly said he's going to make it like 1984. And now they're not complaining about it because it doesn't fit their narrative. Yeah, guess what? It's becoming a bit like 1984 with surveillance on us now. Our data is everywhere. Whether we like it or not, our data is online somewhere because of the things we've used in the past or because it's been uploaded to a cloud somewhere, be it we've visited the GP, we've had an interaction with the police, wherever it is. Our data is everywhere anyway. But now our data is in the hands of pretty bad, vulnerable tech companies. I'm pretty sure there's a direct link between Peter Thiel's company and the verification software that is used over here in the UK. I think they're linked directly to right-wing Republicans in America. I didn't plan this episode, so I don't have the notes right in front of me. But this is a problem. If you want to protect kids, educate parents how to put locks on devices and how to actually, ban not safe for work websites. Internet service providers have been doing this for years, and you can turn it off when you want. You have to verify your data and anything like that. You have to verify who you are. This is dangerous. Also, if the government decides that they don't want to show you something, they can then decide that is not safe. So you have to verify, which people will go, I can't know what to do that for, and they won't view it. Which means if they were to, hypothetically speaking, silence people's urges to look into what's happening in Gaza, they could just say, oh, you have to verify your ID because it's bad for you to do. And then you go, I'm on the fucking Northern Line, mate. It's fucking 5:15. Fuck's sake, I guess I'm not doing this now. And then you go on to play Balatro like you should. But there's things that this is actually bad. That's what I'm saying. But, this podcast, which gets 20-something listens per episode or whatever, isn't going to change the world. So yeah, I'm going to go to recommendation station. Choo choo! And I'm going to close this out because we're approaching 15 minutes by just recommending Bill Burr's stand-up comedy special, Drop Dead Years. It's great. It's really funny. He's one of my favorite comedians. He is in my top 2. Anthony Jeselnik is the other one. So it is truly really fun just to watch Bill Burr have fun because it looks like he's enjoying himself and he makes the crowd laugh. He makes me laugh. It's fun. That's all it is. I'm not going to offer no philosophical, introspective thoughts on this. It's funny comedy, and we need that in these trying times. I can't speak England at all in these trying times. So yeah, that's it. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with normal episodes. We have some stuff planned. That's it. I have nothing else to say. So I'm going to take 2 steps to the rear. Oh yeah, I'm going to the Arsenal versus Villarreal game today. So yeah, I need to leave. I'm cycling there. Fucking alright. I'm going to take 2 steps to the rear and get out of here. I'm in the wind. See ya.